major role in, Leicester controlling that second half of football. Exactly what Enzo would have wanted. And obviously not getting that in the first half. We spoke at half time about what his team talk would be like, trying to sort a few issues out. Well, it probably wasn't, and he just went bang, 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 you're coming on. And the lads that come on obviously helped Leicester on their way, and a really emphatic performance in the second half.
It really made the difference, didn't it? Those 3 changes at half time.
I mean, that was the proverbial game of 2 halves. I mean, you had Birmingham chance after chance, not taking theirs, and then Enzo makes a couple of substitutions, 3 substitutions, and they dominate the game. I mean, I think when they brought Ricardo on, everything went through Ricardo. Yeah. I thought he was brilliant today, him when he came on. So it was he was the key for me.
The experience, isn't it? Makes it so much easier. It does help as well when you get a goal nice and early after half time as well. And this could have been this is a goal straight out of about 2013, rolling back the years.
This is Leicester City's playbook to a T. The old Albrighton Vardy 1-2 classic. Mark Albrighton gets the ball, one touch, looks quick look, and then delivers inch perfect onto the head of Jamie Vardy, and a really good finish from Jamie.
I mean, as we were watching it, I think Steve, you were.
I was heading it as well, yeah.
As well, weren't you?
To be fair, his movement was. I mean, obviously Albrighton's gone down the right hand side, and he's whipped a great ball in. But Vardy's movement was to the front post, then just pulled back, and it was on a plate for him. But obviously, he does what Vardy does and just stuck it away.
We said before the game that he got maybe an hour, 60 minutes into the legs, which is important, but getting a goal as well. I mean, that you couldn't really want any more from his personal perspective.
No, absolutely. He's been managed, obviously, big game on Tuesday night against Swansea, and he's pivotal. And going into that game, getting back on the score sheet, doesn't matter how you get on the score sheet, as long as you get on it. And, was very, very close to getting the second. They called it offside.
Yeah.
Showed a good turn of pace as well for good finish for that second goal, which was, obviously in the end called offside. But, yeah, fantastic for him.
How great are these scenes, by the way? Like, just,
brilliant.
Look, big crowd on as well today. Everybody going on happy. That young man as well, getting Ricardo Pereira's shirt.
Yeah, I've said this a few times about Leicester. They seem to have a good team off the pitch, as well as on the pitch, which is, and I'll always say this: the sides I've played in with, will have the most success. They've always been a good team off the pitch, and that portrays onto the pitch.
Yeah.
So it's great to see these things. Yeah.
Love it. Yeah, as we were mentioning with Vardy, that the second that was called offside, the fact that he was so quick and that acceleration is still there. When you come back after an injury, especially one where you're a little advanced in age and you've been out for 2 months, being able to trust your own body, I guess, it must be quite important for you when you come back.
I think, especially now in the modern day, players don't come back too early. They get assessed and tested intensely throughout, so even though he was out for 2 months, he might have spent a week, 10 days of that being tested, fitness-wise, making sure he had the strength back in his legs, everything was green, all the green lights were flashing and not amber and red still before they let him back onto the pitch. But you're right, he's still got that pace. You're right, Jamie Vardy off at your peril.
Oh, absolutely.
Seriously, and it doesn't matter how old he is. I think... was it Ryan Giggs played in the Premier League till he was 40 for Man U? But there's no reason why Jamie Vardy cannot go on playing till that kind of age, because he's a racehorse. He's a genuine athlete, and it's all about managing him to make sure you get the best out of him, managing his minutes, and just keep the guy fit. Because the older he gets, yes, the pace will slightly go, but his football brain will take over, and that will always improve. And
you learn about your body as well, right? As you get older and more experienced, you kind of know what you need to do to be in peak physical condition, I guess.
I mean, like Jerry says, the modern game, they're assessed every 5 minutes. So when so he was managed. I mean, I was gutted he came off, but I understand why he came off, because I wanted to get him, another 2 or 3 goals. But I mean, that's the modern day. Like Jerry says, you got a game on Tuesday, so I'm pretty sure he'll take some part in that. So it's all about managing, the racehorse, like you said.
Absolutely. Well, let's hear from Matt Elliott, who's part of our commentary team this afternoon. He's still out there shivering on the gantry. Matt, I imagine you were as impressed with Jamie Vardy as we were in the studio.
Well, Jamie Vardy and a number of other players out there in the second 45, 1 or 2 players throughout the entirety of the game. But yeah, I don't know what Jerry knows about racehorses and stuff like that.
I've lost a few, yeah.
Yeah, certainly not from a self-physical point of view.
Well, you're a cart horse, I know that.
Yeah. Blackpool Beach Donkey, which rings to mind, mate. But
Hopper.
You're Claude Hopper. Yeah, that brings back a few memories, doesn't it? But anyway, we're talking about Jamie Vardy. Yeah, listen, no surprise. You're talking about him being managed correctly. He sort of manages himself as well, doesn't he? Within games, he doesn't go herring around unnecessarily, like he possibly did, to a degree in his younger years. He used to hassle and hustle defenders and goalkeepers constantly, didn't he? And it was quite an unnerving sight for opponents. But these days, he's already sort of adapting his game. Certain instances are reminiscent of his glory days, and I suppose none more so than today, really, with Albrighton contributing as well at the same time. It was you could see it unfolding, couldn't you? As soon as Yunus played that ball to Albrighton, you thought, here we go. Because as Stevie mentioned, a little bit of movement from Vardy created the space, and if there's space to be found, Albrighton's your man, isn't it? And it was almost expected. You could see it happening before it occurred, really, and it was great to see. And it turned the game on its head, but it certainly changed the course of events, didn't it, today?
Absolutely. You mentioned that he was one of several players who impressed you. Who else sort of caught your eye today?
Well, obviously Stolarczyk, first half, mostly for the right reasons, in terms of shot stopping. He does scare the life out of you a little bit when the ball's at his feet, even though he's capable. Decision making is dubious, but going through. But listen, Albrighton, of course. I'm looking at players. I was expecting maybe to have to declare man of the match or whatever, and if you do, I'm looking at players who have played the whole game, really, more often than not. And Albrighton managed to do that. What an effort for him. He's in and out the team, more out than in. And still have that fitness to keep chugging away like he did, and contribute 1 assist and almost an assist, a secondary assist, if that makes sense. I don't know, indirectly with Yunus's goal. He makes a great run in from the right hand side, doesn't he? If you're going on the second half alone, Ricardo's man of the match, isn't he? For me, I thought. Is it you, Steve?
Yeah,
you said about his influence. Yeah, he was top class when he was on another level or two. There was a bloke not so far away from me. Every time Ricardo got the ball, he was up on his feet, clapping and applauding. He was super. He was superb to watch. But overall, all things considered, Jerry mentioned him in the build-up to the game about his class and composure, and he oozes it, and I thought he did so again today. Ben Nelson was top man for me overall.
I was going to ask you both about Ben Nelson. Again, given this is his second start, senior start, you'd never know it, would you?
No, I mean, he's got all the attributes of a modern centre-half. If he's not playing regular football in the next 6 to 12 months, then he's gone and joined Billy Smart's circus, or he's had a career-ending injury. One of those two things. Yes, he's made a couple of mistakes, but he's so quick over the ground as well. His recovery runs, he reads, he knows exactly where to be positionally when the ball's been given away. And you've seen a couple of those recovery runs or covering runs that come in and slide. He doesn't get phased, as I said before the game, coming up against pace. Nothing bothers him, and he's comfortable on the ball, and verbally he always has an option or a picture in his head when he's on the ball. Yeah, I mean, he's got a really, really bright future.
And as a 19-year-old coming in, I'm sure when you were playing, you see teenage defenders in particular, and centre-backs in particular. It's a very difficult position to play at as a young man. To have that kind of composure and that confidence, it seems quite rare at this level.
Yeah, I mean, brilliant. I mean, for his size as well, I think he's 6'4" and a bit. I think he is. He's a big lad, and like Jerry says, he's got pace with it. But even from the goalkeeper out to his feet, even when he was closed down, he showed composure. you know, he calms everything down and plays it, so he never looks flustered. And top that with his recovery runs, he's a great player.
But you'd love to go up against him.
Oh, I'd love a ding dong with him. Yeah.
I think he'd give as good as he
I think he would as well. Yeah.
But yeah, he seems, again, there's a lot of depth at centre back. It's probably maybe Leicester's strongest position in terms of numbers and depth. But
yeah.
he gives you a lot of confidence that if something was to happen to one of the first choice guys, you've got one.
He's got to be in Enzo's thoughts. You know, obviously, Fass and Vestergaard are the two main men at the minute, and then you have Cody, the experience of Cody. But if you're looking someone who just brings an all-round aura, and he's 19, 20-year-old kid, this is the guy.
Yeah.
He's got to be in Enzo's thoughts, you know, moving forward, or even playing a part in the run into the season. But yeah, I mean, he's an incredible young talent.
In terms of people who may have lodged themselves in the back of Enzo's mind, is Yunus one of them as well? Because my goodness, he caught hold of his goal.
He certainly did, didn't he? You know, he created some great little space for himself, and he certainly hit that ball because it flew past the keeper before he even knew it.
I mean, you know, you look at both. You look at Vardy's goal and you look at Yunus's goal. I'm first of all, and I know it's not a negative as far as Leicester are concerned, but in the first goal, he gives the ball away twice, Yunus, and he gets it back, and he plays that ball out to Albrighton. And then for his goal, the ball, I don't know what the Birmingham defence are doing, and it sort of bobbles off and ping-pongs off the Birmingham defence. And it just seems to be, when good things happen for Yunus today, he just seemed to be in the right place at the right time. And obviously when that ball just failed him, it came off a Birmingham defender. And you just think, yeah, go on, hit one. And he absolutely rifles it. Rifles it. You know, it's a great finish from Yunus. And you can see the elation on his face.
Yeah.
You know, it's obviously something that he was desperate to get on the score sheet for Leicester. So fair play to him. You know, so he's one of those little niggly players that you just can't quite, you don't, you know, you're looking, they're trying to get near him or grab him, and you just can't. He just sort of drifts in and out. You know, he's got great use of the feet, and there he showed what a vicious shot he has on him as well.
I mean, we mentioned it before the game where that sort of attitude, he, I suppose, epitomised that in the second half. We're saying he lost the ball a couple of times, but won it back, plays the ball out, the goal when it comes, he's just right place, right time, head down, smash it top bins.
He's right, Jerry. He's that type of player where you think he's lost it, no, he's got it back. He's lost it. Bit frustrating at times when you watch him, but obviously he's quality there to when it does land and he's hit it, and when you hit balls like that, you can't tell you've hit it. You've just the sweetest strike ever, and it's got the top goal.
Just the way you hit a golf ball.
In the trees, though.
I mean, he threatened in the first half. There was that one moment where he got the ball centre circle, I think he beat 3 players, put on the backside, and admittedly that one was maybe more like one of your drives sliced off the left. But he's got that in him, and again, playing in an unnatural position for him in the middle of that midfield. It's a different kind of option, I guess, that it gives him.
I think the biggest, apart from obviously a strike, which was phenomenal, the biggest plus I seen today from Yunus was, he had that run and he sliced it wide, but he was always looking the ball. He was always, when the ball was in and around a certain area of the pitch, i.e. that sort of attack in midfield, middle of the park, he was always buzzing around trying to do something positive. You know, as Steve said, sometimes he can be frustrated because it gets away from him.
He's always offering. He's always there. He wants the ball.
And he's always being positive when he's in possession, which I think is a real attribute.
Well, that's what you need as well. When we were talking about playing around for the back, and maybe wasn't always an out ball, but if you have someone in the middle who is always wanting the ball and can play those little passes around the corner out to the fullbacks, that's incredibly important in this system in particular.
Yeah, because it shows as well, because a little bobble and then he plays the ball out to Albrighton and you score a goal. So it's one of them where, yes, he is frustrated, but give him the ball and let him try and create something, because even if it bobbles off, it might create something for somebody else.
And the third goal, when it came late on, was his mate in the middle of midfield. Nice moment for Dennis Praet.
Yeah, absolutely. Solid game today, Dennis. You sort of know what you're going to get with Dennis, to be honest. You know, he never lets anybody down. And again, we're talking about Leicester playing their way through the first. This is a long ball over the top from McAteer to find Cannon down that left-hand channel. And this is as sweet as you like. This is the type of finish that Steve Alward would just be, all over.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh yeah.
Like, okay, Dennis Praet has got space, he's got time, but the way he's just slotted that home is just pure class.
I mean, that's so many players just smash it, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's how it looks. I mean, he's let it run across his body and then opened up and obviously opened up his foot and just placed it in the bottom right-hand corner, which is, it's a great finish. It takes a good technique to stick that in the bottom corner.
Classy finish. You know, it looks easy, but as Steve rightly says, it's not, because obviously you've got to time it, you've got to command it properly, you've got to make sure that the angle of your foot, if you're going to open up like that and hit it with your side foot, it's got to be absolutely spot on. And then obviously the pace that you finish it with. And all you can see as a player staring at the goal is the keeper chasing across the net, and you're thinking, have I got enough on it here? Is this the right option? But he was true. He stuck with it, and as I say, the finish is really, really good.
He's had a difficult season, hasn't he? He's not really been involved too much, but this kind of moment, that kind of opportunity, taking it with two hands like he did today, that could be a real positive momentum shift.
I mean, no one's really talking about Dennis Praet. We're talking about the injury to Wilfred Ndidi and what a big miss he's been. And Cesare Cassari going back to Chelsea. But Dennis Praet's a ready-made number 8. To go alongside Keenan Dewsbury Hall. I know Ricardo can play there, and he's brilliant in the number 8. He's brilliant everywhere he plays, Ricardo. It doesn't matter where you stick him. But Dennis Praet is another good, solid option for Enzo Maresca to come in and fill someone's boots between now and the end of the season. So that's a great fill for him, a great confidence boost for him.
Matt Elliott is still with us and listening in. Do you concur what Jerry's saying there? With Cesare going back to Chelsea, there's a void to fill in the middle of midfield. Could Dennis Praet be the one?
100%. Yeah, certainly he's an option at the very least, isn't he? I think, at the moment in midfield there, let's say Winks is playing, the holding role. Then you've got Dewsbury Hall. We don't know what's occurring there, or not, as the case may be. At the moment, Yunus probably holds the shirt, but not far behind is Dennis Praet. And Dennis Praet, I mean, mentioned it before the game, didn't we? About his standing on an international front is, he should be excelling in a team in the Championship, but such is the depth that Leicester have that he struggles to feature for one reason and another. And I thought today, I totally concur with the lads about the finish. Made it look much, much easier than it actually was. But it was one of those, if you did miss, everyone's like, oh, God, how did he squander that opportunity? But tucked it away really comfortably. And he's a natural footballer. You can see he sort of moves well, smoothly, doesn't he? He's got so many all-round attributes, but doesn't sort of stand out with anything often enough for me. But it's like, I don't know, just needs to sort of stir himself a little bit. Or I think he has the capability to do that, and he could be a huge player because indeed he's out for an indefinite period. Massive influence, totally different player, Dennis Praet, but can be as equally influential. And Maresca will be hoping that he stands up to the task.
Well, looking ahead to Tuesday and Swansea coming here in the Championship, do you think there's anybody that played today that maybe has played themselves into contention when Enzo Maresca has said that he's giving opportunities to the second team, as he called it, these fringe players? Is there anyone who took that opportunity to maybe give him something to think about when he's selecting his team for Tuesday?
Well, I think probably the main point or issue for Maresca to consider is exactly that role we were just talking about there, isn't it? Whether it will be, you can pretty much read the script that Enzo will pick. More often than not, certainly, when he goes with his strongest outfit. So he's made a lot of changes today, so that enables him to go the strongest possible Tuesday, you would think. So really, yeah, for me, it is that, ironically, it was two players that played today are probably vying for one spot, aren't they? If Dewsbury Hall is playing which we'll assume he is, Winks in midfield, then it's Yunus or Praet for me, pretty much. I know you can play, as he did against Ipswich, he played Ricardo in that advanced role. I think that will work for a period. Ricardo's a class act and can play pretty much anywhere. But I think you'd like someone who's an authentic attacking midfielder type player. And it's probably one of those two. Probably on the back of scoring his goal and the fact that he brought him into the club, or he was brought into the club under Maresca's leadership, I think Yunus will probably get the nod on Tuesday night against Swansea.
You were nodding along at that.
Yeah.
You concur?
I think
feels like the one?
Yeah, because Yunus is just his man. So I think, obviously you prefer your own preferred players, but I think with Yunus coming in and what how he's played today, maybe he's right.
And that's what you want, players giving an opportunity and taking it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the main thing. Forget about who you think is higher up the pecking order in regards to, coming in and getting a start. It's all about everyone buying into what Enzo's trying to do. Probably right, that his style of play, he does lack that physicality. And at times that showed against Ipswich the other night, especially for the equalising goal. And I think Dennis Praet is a bit more physical and a bit more. Is he a bit more willing to run back and do a shift without the ball when you're under pressure in the dying minutes of a game? Probably Dennis Praet, but definitely going forward and being creative. You'd have to say that Yunus, probably pips Dennis Praet at the minute, but they're both very capable.
The good thing is as well, it's through in the cup, into the 5th round, into the hat. It's not the priority, obviously, but Enzo Maresca has been insistent that he wants to win every game and take every competition seriously. Yeah. This is probably a good outlet, I guess, for those kind of players where they aren't in that 14, 15 players who are regularly starting. It gives them another opportunity. There's another game where they can come in and impress.
Absolutely, because, all the lads there tonight who, they've had minutes, they've got a good win. They've gone into the manager's mind. They just say, make a decision, pick me. And that's what you want in these games, and these games are great because for the lads who are getting frustrated sitting on the bench or on the fringes, and then they go in there. So the longer this competition goes on, the more chance them lads can go and give the manager going, you know what, I can use him.
Yeah, and again, you look at the likes of Mark Albrighton, okay, who hasn't had a lot of game time. He's normally coming on as a sub in the 10 minutes to help Leicester shut out a game, but he plays in the cup games. So if you're Mark Albrighton and who loves playing, you can't wait to get on a pitch. Every opportunity you get, and if the manager's saying, right, you're going to play the cup games predominantly, and obviously you'll be in the match day squad, you'll be itching to get over the line in every cup game you play in because you want more minutes on the pitch. So it's a great incentive for the players that don't play. They do as well as they can in the cup competition because it means they get more game time.
Absolutely.
And get to do what they love.
Absolutely. Well, job done today. There is another big game, as we were saying, though, coming up on Tuesday evening, right back here at King Power Stadium. Swansea are the visitors in the Championship. Remind you can watch that live with us on Matchday Live, but lots more as well between now and then on Fox's Hub. Extra time reacting to this game that was played today will be on Monday. Live from 6 p.m. Then on Tuesday, as we were saying, Matchday Live returns. Swansea the visitors. We're on air at 6:45 p.m. And then on Saturday, travelling to Stoke City, another big league game live from 2 p.m. And you can hear the latest episode of Leicester's the Place, the podcast with Sol Bamba. That's available now wherever you get your podcasts and also on lcfc.com. So lots to look forward to in this week, including the draw for the next round of the FA Cup. Leicester will be in it. They've made it through to the 5th round. Swansea are up next on Tuesday. We'll be back for that on Tuesday evening. Hopefully you can join us then. But from Jerry, from Steve, from all of us here, very good evening.